it was a great experience, going back. It's been years since I've been back to the Y. That's the place, man. We had some wars in there in the YMCA. Guys from all over, the area, coming there certain nights. Gym is packed. If you lost, you didn't get back on the court for a long time.
When they opened this place in 1988, so we're getting all new backboards and all that stuff. It's getting put up. They painted it here this year, so we still have the best kids basketball in town.
Oh, do you? I see some posts about it. It was a good experience seeing, Troy, aka Pee Wee, hanging out with him and his son. Gym looked the same. Crazy thing is everything looks the same, So it was a good time.
My name is Troy. Pee Wee Pennington, as GJ probably knows me by. Had the nickname Pee Wee from school here, being short back when we were younger, and finally my senior year I grew a little bit, so Pee Wee stuck with me through all those years. Jarmon and I really worked out together just about every day. We trained together, we lift weights, we got shots up. Being that point guard, he was just a great leader on the floor. And there were days where I didn't want to work out. He would push me. There were days that he didn't want to, and I said, "Come on, G, we got to go train." And so basketball really just brought us together and bonded a great friendship. And we hung out at each other's houses. We went to ball games and stuff. Rode down to the beach and played basketball down there. He'll have to tell you those stories. Some good stories there. But basketball just brought us together and just developed this awesome relationship. And man, he was a great point guard in high school. Like I was telling y'all earlier, all I had to do was run the floor. He would bring it up through the traffic, kick it to me. And that's when, in 1988, the three-point line came into high school basketball. And so all I had to do was run to that line, and G would break it down and kick the ball to us. GJ was kind of smooth, and I was kind of the fiery guy who would I would fight you tooth and nail on the court to try to win a game. We worked hard, like he was talking about. We would be here on 3 or 4 days a week. If you weren't here by 1 o'clock on Sunday, you were not getting on that court. And if you ran that court, everybody knew, they knew who you were. It kept us out of trouble. It kept us from his mom knew where we were. My mom knew. And I don't know if y'all ever got to meet his mom, but his mom was a trip. His daddy was laid back. That's where he gets that from. Mm-hmm. But his mama was a trip. She's like, "All right, where y'all going? What girl's gonna be here?
All right.
And don't make me, when y'all come back, I had to smell y'all down and stuff like that." Cause she's a trip. His daddy's nickname was Jello. He was so smooth on the court. Like, we used to call him that too. He'd walk in, "What's up, Jello?" So the lady I took him in there to see, she's been here 30 years, and so she worked the service desk when Gerald and I would come through.
My name is Beth Hardy, and I'm the Associate Executive Director of the Twin Rivers YMCA. I remember GJ back when I was in high school, and he was a little bit older than me. He would come in and play a lot. I looked up to him. They knew, well, not only his passion, but the love for the game and his drive was going to take him somewhere, and it did. So I think people always respected and wanted to follow him wherever he went.
Yeah, so when I was playing high school with Troy, when we played high school together, I mean, man, basketball was big time. There was like standing room only. Both sides, both bleachers were packed. And people would stand on the baseline. That was the atmosphere and the anticipation and excitement of high school basketball in the area. Like Troy, myself, and I had a couple other friends. We would, basketball was our life. That's what we did. Like, it wasn't like it was a hobby or, it was just something to pass time. No, like, we lived it. We lived it. This, where we're at now, the YMCA, this was like the war zone. You come here, you had to bring your A game. Like literally, over half of the best players in the area came here to the YMCA. If you lost, you had to sit out like a while before you got back on the court because there was so many players here in so many games. You didn't want to lose, you know. You knew if you lost, then it might be a while. So the games were, I mean, like to the point where like, you know, guys ready to fight, throw some hands. I don't know if Troy talked about that, but it was like serious. So we're about to head to Church Street now. The Church Street gang. This is where when I was born, my parents where we lived at until I was about maybe 13, 14 years old. This is Church Street. I live in 1111 Church Street. See those green apartments? That's where I was born and raised. Yeah, growing up as a child, you know, my mom and dad, we lived in a small apartment. It was, you know, 2 bedrooms, small bathroom, and kitchen, and a real small, tiny living room, tiny apartment. And, you know, everything about me growing up, you know, basketball was everything. My dad had me focused. I was really focused on basketball. Grades, school, doing well in school, basketball. You know, when I was 4, 5, 6 years old, you know, that's all I did. You know, I wanted to be outside practicing. I was, you know, and I was a good kid. You know, everybody said I was a good kid, but you know, I was a good kid. You know, didn't get into too much trouble. You know, I had, again, very supportive parents, and I was the only child until I was 14. You know, so I was, you know, I was a spoiled little boy. For 14 years until my sister came along and my mom, you know, mom and dad gave birth to my sister, Tranika Jarmon.
I call him GJ. GJ and I are 14 years apart. So growing up, by the time I was, you know, old enough to know like who he was to me, he was already gone to college. And so we would go visit him, I would go see him, and I would cry every time leaving my brother. I hated to leave him. I always wanted him home with me. I would cover my eyes because I didn't want anyone to see me crying. But it was always someone to look up to because he was always on the go, even after college playing overseas, and he would come home in between, you know, countries and things like that, and I would look forward to those times. So it was always like he was there, then he would go, but I always just wanted him around.
So my sister and her family, but yeah, that was my upbringing. You know, not a lot of bells and whistles. It's just normal kid, loved basketball, loved sports, did well in school. My mom and dad, man, they meant everything to me. You know, like, you know, they were, you know, my mom, you know, God rest her soul, my mom was my girl. You know, she kept me close all the time. She spoiled me, and you know, I just remember her just doing everything for me. You know, I know she used to work late at night. I remember I think I was in maybe elementary school. I was in maybe 3rd grade or something. And after school, I had to go and stay with my grandmother because my dad was working 3rd shift, and my mom, she was working till like 9 o'clock at night. So after school, I'm in like 3rd or 4th grade, I had to go to my grandmother's house and stay there. And my grandmother would go to bed at like 7 o'clock. So I would just sit in the living room and watch TV. My mom would pull up 9:30 in the big yellow caddy. That's when the Cadillacs was in style. Mm-hmm. And pull up, and I would get my books. Went outside. She had a long day of work. Get home, get me something to eat. And so I just remember my mom, just no matter how I did on the basketball court, I was still her number one. I was still number one, you know, to her. And my dad was, just my that strength, my confidence. He instilled a lot of things in me. So that was my people. I definitely miss them dearly. All this stuff come in handy. The more the merrier, the more to play with. In high school, I shared a story with you. There was pressure. There was pressure to perform from home. There was pressure. It was pressure I put on myself. I was trying to please. So when I graduated from that and I surrendered to him, guess what? If I had a good day or bad day, I'm still a 7. If I scored 30, I scored 0, I'm still a 7. But it also kept me humble too. It kept me humble because, you know the game of basketball, you can score 30, the next night you can get 2. So you got to make sure you have a level head and your attitude is in the right place, because you can get it handed to you anytime. Now, Division I college basketball, that's how it was. My freshman year, we opened up in a preseason tournament. It was Georgia, Georgia Tech, LaSalle, another Division I. My freshman year. So got a rude awakening. Troy, I talked to Troy about stories, playing at that level. I got it handed to me my first tournament. Beginning of the season, I didn't start as a freshman, but I had to work my way up. And eventually, I started the last 22 games of the season. But, even in that process, I had to trust the Lord with all my heart. I had to trust Him. I had to trust Him no matter what was happening. My life is in His hands. Okay? He's guiding me. Sometimes I go through stuff, but you know what? It's not, the things I go through they don't come to demoralize me, they come to make me better. Okay? They come to make you better. Challenges come to make you better. Some of us want to run. That's how we're built. We're built to cave. This has been a great ride here. This has been awesome. This documentary to really depict and highlight my life. The obstacles I had to overcome, and the key people in my life and relationships. Having support, the support system back home in New Bern. The support system for me was meant so much beyond my home, it was just great. Common denominator, okay, the thing that stood out, the thing that helped me, the thing that helped me overcome the obstacles and believe, the thing that got me over the top, the thing that got me to play college basketball, to receive a Division I scholarship, to play at the University of Richmond, the thing that took me all over the world, 8 different countries, the thing that got me there, to meet presidents in different countries, to rub elbows with key people, key officials, was the fact that I was driven. I had a drive that wouldn't stop. I had a drive that wouldn't give up, no matter what the obstacle was, no matter what somebody said about me, no matter what, what opinions people had of me. I didn't let the opinions of people stop me from accomplishing something great. So you got to be driven in life, okay? The doubters, actually, I love when people doubt me. I love when people say things contrary to where I'm going. I love when people do that. There's something in me. I'm built different. There's something in me that thrives when somebody says I can't do something. And these aren't just words, but as you can see in this documentary, and as you have seen, I use those things as fuel. And then next you know, those same people that talk about me are watching me play on television. Those same people that talk about me are seeing me come back home, successful, and giving back to the community. So that's what it's all about. Are you driven enough today?